On today's show, Senators captain Brady Tkachuk will be joining Tim Stützle at the Olympics. Why he should be Captain America as well.
And we continue our 2025 NHL draft rankings with two exciting prospects that are very different.
This is Brady Tkachuk, and you're listening to the Locked On Senators podcast.
You're Locked On Senators, your daily podcast on the Ottawa Senators. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome. You are locked on to the Ottawa Senators, the only daily podcast covering the Sens. On the outskirts of enemy territory, I'm Ross Levitan, alongside Brandon Pillar up in the Blue Mountains. Today is Tuesday, June 17th, and Pilsy, right after we finished recording yesterday, Team USA announced its 6 players that will headline their Olympic roster, and only one change was made from the first 6 players that were named to the Four Nations, and that was Senators captain Brady Tkachuk replacing Adam Fox, a nice feather in the cap of the young star.
Yeah, and that comes as no surprise to Ottawa Senators fans who know what Brady brings and saw what he brings when he gets to play in meaningful games, especially the Four Nations face-off with Team USA. However, if you logged on to Twitter yesterday, you would see 31 other fan bases being like, oh, why is Brady in this group of 6? If his last name wasn't Tkachuk, if his last name was Brady Smith, he wouldn't be here. This is a personality hire. There's so many better American-born players. It's wild, the amount of people that underrate Brady Tkachuk's skill when it comes to being a leader, being a team member, and stepping up when he's needed to be. Sure, does he have the point totals of some of the other Americans that were left off that top 6? Not necessarily, but if you're looking to just put up points, that's not necessarily a winning strategy when it comes to international tournaments, especially the Olympics. We've seen times where Team Canada just put together an all-star team, and then they got 3 guys on the 4th line that can't kill penalties, can't check, and aren't getting enough minutes to get into their game. You need all sorts of types of players and guys to play different roles, and Team USA clearly understands the importance that Brady Tkachuk can play on their team.
Going into his 5th season as captain of the Ottawa Senators, Brady Tkachuk has already worn the C for Team USA on multiple occasions, including when they got a gold medal at the World Under-18s. He would have been the captain for Team USA at the World Juniors, but he was already in the National Hockey League, and the Senators didn't let him go back for his 19-year-old season at that tournament. He, to me, is the easy choice as captain. He's the emotional leader of that team. You saw it at the Four Nations, which everybody was saying was a tune-up for the Olympics. So what you saw at that tournament, you got to think is what you're going to see at the Four Nations in terms of the hierarchy in how teams are built. I understand the rules are different, and it's not going to favor Brady Tkachuk's game theoretically. Although when he went to the World Championships, Pills, he had 13 points in 8 games. So I don't think it really changed up too much. He was second in scoring in that tournament behind his teammate and line mate, Matthew Boldy.
And Ross, I think people sometimes get diluted with the captain term, thinking that it should automatically go to your best player. If Austin Matthews wants to wear a gold helmet, like the leading goal scorers in the Swedish league, all right, it's the Swedish league that does that, right?
Gold helmet. I think at one point it was.
Yeah, if you want to give Austin Matthews the gold helmet so he feels special, great. If you want to pick your leaders based on who gets the most amount of points, that's also up to you. But me, Ross, a guy like me, I like to pick my leaders, Brady Tkachuk jersey standing behind or hanging behind me, based on their ability to lead. And I think, what a concept, eh? And I just think that if you polled the U.S. players honestly, I think they would have a lot of good things to say about what Brady Tkachuk brings to that locker room, how he provides energy swings when they needed it in the Four Nations faceoffs. And again, asterisks, we are very aware that the IIHF rules are not going to be as lenient. Brady Tkachuk will not be fighting 10 seconds into a game up against Team Canada in the Olympics. That won't happen. But I don't know, like Austin Matthews just inspires nothing. Like that guy brings in from me watching on my couch on TV, and it's not just because I'm a Sens fan and hate the Leafs. There's no inspiration. There's no motivation. He's not dragging guys into any sort of fight. He looks dejected a lot of the time. Like, whereas Brady Tkachuk is on the bench, he's communicating, he's getting the boys going, he's having big shifts. Like, Austin Matthews was invisible in that tournament, in my opinion. And maybe I'm just getting a little worked up here because I just hate seeing the online Twitter sphere being so negative towards what Brady Tkachuk brings. But I just think it's a no-brainer to have him as the captain. And if they want to give letters to their best players to make them feel good, that's fine. But that would be a big mistake, in my opinion. Who do we know who the general manager is for the Olympics? Is it Bill Guerin, same as Four Nations?
It is Bill Guerin, yeah.
I mean, that's a guy that would understand the leadership qualities that a guy like Brady Tkachuk brings. So I hope they're able to make the right decision here. And it's not just because we want the, I don't know, allure, maybe that's not the right word, but the prestige of having our captain be the captain of an Olympic team. I truly think that is the correct choice.
Out of the 6 players that were named for Team USA, 4 have been captains in the NHL. Jack Eichel, obviously not anymore, was with Buffalo, not with the Vegas Golden Knights. That would be another former Senator, Mark Stone. But Brady Tkachuk, Austin Matthews, and Quinn Hughes, all captains. And there's going to be more captains on the team. Think of Dylan Larkin's guy who's going to be there, probably missing a few more on top of that. Leadership is going to be plentiful at this tournament. But to me, there's no better choice than Brady Tkachuk, a guy who elevates his game when the chips are down. Heck, this guy had 4 goals in his last 5 playoff games after going scoreless in his first career playoff game. He finished on a 5-game point streak. He had clutch goals, big goals for the Ottawa Senators. And I just think that as an emotional leader and a guy who you can hop on his back and say, this guy's going to bring us into battle, let's go, lead from the front. Brady Tkachuk is my choice for captain. Very unbiased that he should get the C from Toronto Maple Leafs forward Austin Matthews. Pillsy, we talked yesterday about other Ottawa Senators who we expect to be at the Olympics. I kind of tongue-in-cheek said yesterday as well that, you could have named Jake Sanderson one of the top 6, but pretty fair. They went with Quinn Hughes and Charlie McAvoy on defense. Even saw some Carolina reporters, and maybe they were being tongue-in-cheek like I was, but I also think that there might be some truth to it. They thought Jacob Slavin should have been one of the top 6.
I wouldn't have been surprised, Ross. The way Slavin played in that tournament was absolutely incredible. And I think that's another guy that if you're not a fan of his and you're just looking at box scores and stat sheets, you're like, he's good, but not that good. But if you actually are watching him closely, what he does is incredible. Like he might be one of the most elite defensive defensemen in the league. And he's able to put up some offense too. He's not just putting up zeros on the stat sheet either. So I wouldn't have been surprised if that's the case. I don't think Jake Sanderson should have been one of the top 6 for Team USA.
Just
so that's
having some fun. Pillsy.
No fun allowed, Ross.
No, come on,
not on this
man. Show. Come on. All jokes aside, though, you had one of your worst takes of all time yesterday. Would you like to walk it back?
Oh, I saw people were very upset that I said it was fun to have non-NHLers in the Olympics. I mean, for a short period of time, like it was just, let me rephrase this. It was refreshing to see guys that don't get that top accolades or the top stage, to see them get the opportunities. Now, ironically, I was looking back, Ross, and it was the Olympic athletes of Russia was that what they were called? The Olympic athletes
from Russia
that won the gold medal that year. That's probably not what the IIHF wanted to happen. I don't want it to be non-NHLers ever again. I'm just saying it was kind of cool to see it go back to that, because originally the Olympics were set up to prop up amateur non-professional athletes. So from that point, I thought it was interesting to see. I'm not suggesting it's a better product, or I'm not suggesting I'm against international best on best hockey. Sorry, everyone.
I did see a few people mention, though, the injury concerns, and Senators fans know better than anybody, with Brady Tkachuk getting hurt at the Four Nations is one, but Dominic Hasek, obviously the biggest one. And not to poke any old scabs, but that Olympics was also in Italy, and it's going back to Italy for the first time since.
Too much pasta.
Come on. I can't handle an injury at the Olympics, especially if the Sens are rolling.
Well, and that's the thing. Like, obviously, best on best hockey is incredible, but when it's in the middle of a season, and do we know the dates of it? I'm assuming February.
Yeah, early February, 2026 Olympics. The Olympics run February 6th to the 22nd. Hockey, I think, ends always on one of the last days of the event. So I'd imagine there's going to be a gap in the schedule because they'll need a couple days to get over there and practice with their things. They've actually already got the schedule up. It runs the entire Olympics. So how cool is that? The women's tournament actually starts on the 5th. The men's tournament starts on February 11th with the preliminary round, and the gold medal game is the last day of the Olympics for the men's on Sunday, February 22nd. So get the calendar notifications in there because we're going to have some Senators to follow for the Olympics. Already 2 named in the preliminary rosters: Tim Stützle to Germany and Brady Tkachuk to the United States.
Now, do you think the fact that it's double IHF rules will not limit, but make injuries less likely just because it's such clearly a less physical style of hockey?
Didn't work that way when John Tavares broke his leg in Sochi.
Yeah, I mean, those injuries are gonna, like, you can break your leg in practice, non-contact, right? Like these things can happen, but I mean, Brady's injury might have happened because of physical. Well, not really. Like
Brady could be playing men's league. He's still going to get to the net.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he said it wasn't because of that, right? Where it
was like right before.
Yeah. So I guess that's an irrelevant point. Everybody comment another bad take by Pillsy there. But I hope no injuries to anyone, any team, any players, any international guys. Like, let's have a nice, clean Olympic Games, because that is terrible. And man, does that throw teams' plans for a wrench. Like, think about Vegas when Shea Theodore went down after they already pulled Alex Pietrangelo from going. Like, it can really have a big effect.
Yeah, big time. Here's the groups, just while we're talking about the Olympics. It's going to be Canada, Czechia, Switzerland, and France all together. So these are the teams you'll play in your preliminary stage: Finland, Sweden, Slovakia, and Italy. And then Group C is the United States, Germany, Latvia, and Denmark. Pillsy, we're guaranteed to see Tim Stützle and Brady Tkachuk play against each other for, I believe, the first time in their life.
That's cool. I like that. Group B probably is the toughest one, with Finland, Sweden, and Slovakia.
Yeah, I think so. Poor Italy, the host nation, getting a bid in there. That's tough.
Yeah, I mean, but it's not like if you put Italy in Group A or C, it's like, all right, they got a chance.
Yeah, fair. And we'll see how everything plays out as this thing gets closer and closer. But before that, I mean, we got so much to get into this month here on Locked On Senators. We've got everybody's favorite time of year. I know that you might be thinking I'm going with the Stanley Cup final, Game 6 tonight. The Stanley Cup is in the building, but no. What do hockey fans love most? Rumors and transactions. And that, my friends, is coming soon. But now let's get to our NHL draft rankings. Our profiles continue. We've got 50 in the hopper. The ones we've done already posted individually on YouTube. And stop me if I've heard this before, if you've heard this before. But our mock draft is live on YouTube, and we are climbing up, nearing last year's totals. I don't know if we're ever going to hit our first year doing that. That was outrageous. I think got 33,000 views on YouTube, and the average watch time was outrageous. But let's get this thing to 20K. It would be amazing if we could do that. So if you are already done watching it, don't be afraid to turn it on in the background again. Don't be afraid.
It's great background viewing.
Don't be afraid to leave that thing running when you go to the grocery store. Don't be afraid of it, and leave a comment as well. All right, draft rankings on the other side. Maybe the most fun prospect in the entire draft class. You're listening to Locked On Senators, your team every day.
Today's episode is brought to you by our friends over at Wonderful Pistachios. Are you guys looking for a snack that's both delicious and nutritious? Well, just like Ross is about to do, crack into a good source of protein with Wonderful Pistachios. It's not called good pistachios, decent pistachios. They are wonderful because they are one of the highest protein nuts. Each 1 ounce serving has 6 grams of protein, giving you over 10% of your daily value. Plus, they're packed with fiber and better for you, unsaturated fats to help keep you feeling fuller longer.
Hilsey, should we be going to the Olympics just to get to Italy, where we could then take a trip to Sicily, one of the birthplaces of the pistachio tree?
Oh, let's do it. I'm down. And you don't have to go all the way to Italy, Ross, because you can find Wonderful Pistachios in pretty much every single grocery store,
my basement.
Even in Winnipeg, they got them there. I love the salt and pepper flavor, the light purple bag. Ross likes the lightly salted.
And I don't know if it's the same way in Ontario where you're at, but when you walk into the Safeway near my house, Wonderful
Right
Pistachios are front and center. You gotta just grab a bag on the way, and heck, even open it and munch a couple while you're doing your groceries. The no shells variety is great for that because you can just grab and go with the snack that packs a protein punch.
Absolutely. Or if you're watching a 6.5 hour mock draft, snack on some great Wonderful Pistachios. They're a quick protein boost. So get snacking and get cracking with the snack that packs a protein punch. Visit wonderfulpistachios.com to learn more.
All right, Pillsy, you keep selling us short, man. You keep calling it a 6.5 hour video. Dude, it's 6 hours and 50 minutes. Come on. We worked hard on every minute of that thing.
Yeah, sorry about that. You know, I can't be doing that.
No, can't be doing it. All right, Pillsy. I don't want to wait any longer because this guy is so much fun. We got to get into it right now. Coming in at number 14 on our Locked On Senators NHL draft rankings, a teammate of a Senators prospect. So we got a couple extra viewings of Kashan Aitcheson this season. He plays for the Barrie Colts, and when he plays, you notice every single time.
Ross, and this is a guy that's a lot of fun, and he has a great nickname. They call him Cash. So Cash with the Barrie Colts had a great season, 64 games, 26 goals, 33 assists, 59 points in 64 games for a defenseman. Pretty solid.
26 goals for a defenseman. Pretty solid.
Yeah, 88 PIMs plus 6, and then he kept the goals going in playoffs, Ross. 16 games, 6 goals, 6 assists. I mean, where do you want to start with Kashan Aitcheson, Ross? Because there's so many parts of his game that fans, scouts, coaches, and teammates will all love.
I think we should start with where you left off in our mock draft, and no spoilers where Kashan Aitcheson went, but your player comparable for him, I actually love. So why don't you get into why?
Yeah, maybe a bit of a stretch, but I compared him. How about I like this?
I don't think it's a stretch.
I like the term that EP has coined now, shades of, because the player comparable means you think they're going to become that player or they're going to have that career or whatever. So shades of Dion Phaneuf. I mean, think about Dion Phaneuf when he was a prospect. The double Dion. Yeah, like he was laying guys out. He had that heavy shot. He was one of the first kind of new age defensemen that were able to score at a pace like that when he started with Calgary. Was a big reason why a guy like Brian Burke wanted to bring him over to Toronto so bad. He plays that truculent type of game, and Kashan Aitcheson is very similar. If you watched him with the Barrie Colts, if you watch highlights, he's throwing open ice hits. He's inviting attackers to come anywhere near him so he can level them. And a partnership of Aitcheson and Eliasson, that's when you're an opponent, you're like, coach, get me out there on a different line. I don't want to go up against these guys anymore, especially in a playoff series where you're playing multiple games up against them. And rare these days, especially in junior hockey, Ross, this guy's not afraid to chuck him. I saw one of his fights where he opened the fight off with a Superman punch. Like, he's going for it. He's so much fun. Whoever drafts this guy, the fan base is going to fall in love with him.
Not only are they going to fall in love with him for the kind of rambunctious style that he plays, but he also just seems like an awesome dude. Like, his sellies are all time. Boys love him. They're so fired up, whether he gets in a fight, throws a big hit, or scores a goal. He's also one of the oldest players in this draft class, September 2006. So much like with Carter Yakimchuk last year, he just needs one more year of junior hockey, and then he will be eligible to be in the American Hockey League. So you don't have to have that awkward situation where a year from now you're like, well, he's probably done everything he can do in the Ontario Hockey League. He's not quite ready for the NHL, and I don't know if his game's going to translate to college, which is the new opportunity. You want him playing against men and growing that physicality in a tough situation. He's a left shot defenseman, should note that. He's a 6'1", 199-pound defenseman. Corey Pronman, the highest on him, all the way at 11th overall in his rankings. Scott Wheeler has him at 13th on his. Craig Button and McKean's Hockey both at 15th on theirs. And then Elite Prospects at 18th. Our friends at Locked On NHL Prospects at 17. Bob McKenzie's midterms at 18. We're still waiting for his final rankings that should be coming out any day. One thing I love about the way he plays in the offensive zone in particular, and EP notes this as well, you can tell right from his highlights though, he doesn't score goals in that traditional one-timer way. He is, to me, going to be the perfect flank option shooter on a power play because he loves opening up and sliding in to get closer to the net before wiring that one-timer. So he's going to be a problem for goalies to read. You're not going to know exactly where he is. Got a bit of Jacob Chikrin in him from that sense, where he can either stop it up and take a wrister, or he'll just let that thing rip on the one-timer. So I just think he brings so many different elements to his game that a team's going to jump up. Like, I think he's appropriately ranked here at 14, right in the middle. I don't think he gets past Montreal at 15, 16. Those two picks, how could you not want to add
16, 17, like, I think.
Right. Sorry about that. Yeah, and you look at, like, Calgary would love to have him, obviously. But I think that earlier in this first round, he could be one of those surprise names. There was even NHL Scouts poll that came out, and some believe that he's the second best defenseman in this draft class after Matthew Schaefer. Radim Murka might want to have a word about that. Jackson Smith might want to have a word about that. But Kashan Aitcheson, when you watch them play night in and night out, he's going to be the guy that catches scouts' attention for the most different reasons. And I think that's going to be really attractive to a team who takes a swing on him.
Yeah, definitely. The one thing I will say, Ross, is if he's going to play on the power play, I almost feel like you should play him as the fourth forward on a power play, not as the defenseman quarterbacking it.
Right. Sliding down, like where Chikrin stands.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I mean. Because Pronman mentioned he doesn't think he can facilitate a power play. He doesn't necessarily have those high decision-making abilities, and he's not someone that maybe you want carrying the puck up the ice every single power play. Not that he can't do it, but I just think when he gets to the pros, I think he would be a lot better as a right flank shooter on a second power play unit rather than being the guy that it cycles through at the top of the umbrella. But he's certainly got a shot for that. But Ross, on the flip side of that, Wheeler mentions he is strong on the PK, willing to block shots, plays that energetic game, being aggressive towards other teams' power plays. So I think you could see him being on a top penalty kill unit and being a shooter on a second power play unit.
I think a team is going to love getting him, and I wish it was the Ottawa Senators. I would even break my don't draft a left shot defenseman rule for this guy. I think that he's special. I think that he's got a little bit of something that nobody else has. Out of all defensemen in the Ontario Hockey League this season, only 2 had more goals than Kashan Aitcheson's 26. Those 2 prospects, Sam Dickinson and Zane Parekh.
Wow.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. And then neither of those guys are fighting the way that he is. Neither of those guys are laying the body the way that he is. And the fact that he can defend pretty decently as well. The one thing he's got to work on, I think, is transitioning the puck. You mentioned it, not going to be the guy that carries it up. Well, that's a pretty important part of being a defenseman. You're going to have to get yourself out of trouble, break forechecks, and work that way.
Pair him with the guy that can do that, Ross, right? And I think you end up in a really good situation.
How many Sens stars for Kashan Aitcheson?
Keep in mind, neither me nor Ross, or I think anyone in the scouting community, thinks Aitcheson will make it to 21. I got him at 4.5 stars, though, because this is the type of player you want in your system. Go read Scott Wheeler's feature on him in The Athletic. Comes from humble beginnings and was never really kind of a shoe-in to be a top prospect, but he put the work in. He had opportunities to, elevate the people that he was working with. I believe he could have worked with Gary Roberts as a trainer, but he said, no, I'm sticking with my guys that got me here. And he kept with his trainers and worked hard in the gym and things like that. So you get that loyalty aspect too. The guys love him. Cash seems like such a fun guy to be around. So I'm with you, Ross. I would also break my rule of being like, hey, we can't draft any more big left shot defensemen. This guy is special. So 4.5 stars for me. The half star off being he won't be there and he's a left shot guy. But if he was available for the Sens and they took him, I'd be stoked.
He's such a Sens type prospect too. So it's just like, make it happen. You know,
and he played with Eliasson, so they would have seen him.
Yeah, they would have seen him a ton. Kashan Aitcheson with an average ranking of 15.28 comes in on our Locked On Senators NHL draft rankings at 14th overall. You can find all of our prospect profiles available on YouTube. On the other side, we've got a player that plays very differently than Kashan Aitcheson, but heck of a player in his own right. That's next. You're listening to Locked On Senators, your team every day. All right, Philsy, we are still waiting. More news from steady Stevie Staios and the Ottawa Senators. Got a great note here on Twitter at Sens Central. As we mentioned, our first segment today, why Brady Tkachuk should be named Captain America at the 2026 Olympics. At Bergerino, he's actually a Habs fan. I find this funny, but the end of the note does kind of give that away a little bit. I'll start with that, actually. Austin Matthews shouldn't be in the conversation. He disappears amongst his peers at the international level. Not a leader, shouldn't even be the Leafs captain. But he also says Brady should wear the C with their home jerseys and Matthew Tkachuk should wear the C with the road jerseys.
Oh, my God. That would piss so many people off, but I would love it.
Change the name on their back. Tkachuk, that K at the end, just make it a big C. Okay?
Yeah, well, we like to use the phrase captain. I don't know how to say that phonetically, but spelt out TK.
Yeah.
APTAIN.
Well, how do you say Brady's last name?
Tkachuk.
So, captain.
Yeah, I guess so. But I wanted to emphasize that so people didn't think I was just saying captain.
Coming in at number 13 on our Locked On Senators NHL draft rankings, we're heading to the QMJHL, where we find Justin Carbonneau, where if you're looking for a pure offensive talent, Justin Carbonneau is one of the best in the draft.
Man, he is sick. This is one of those guys. There's some guys, Ross, where I'm watching film of them shift by shift, highlight packages, and I don't want to say it seems like work, but I'm more watching it to be like, okay, what's this player's game? How are they doing? Carbonneau's one of those guys where even if he got drafted by another team, I could turn it on and be like, this is just fun, awesome, exciting hockey. He is an absolute talent offensively, and the numbers back that up. In 62 games this year with Blainville, Boisbriand, Armada in the
Nailed it.
Did I nail that? Okay, good. Yep. In the QMJHL, in 62 games, 46 goals, 43 assists, 89 points. And then not the greatest playoffs for his team, only played 5 games, but he got 3 goals. And Scott Wheeler mentioned in his article about him, kind of got some bad puck luck because this kid was putting the puck on net, Ross. 8 shots, 7 shots, 6 shots, 6 shots, 1 shot on the first game, but he averaged over 5 shots a game in those playoff games. So he was really trying to do his part. And yeah, an exciting right wing, right shot player.
He was second in the queue in points this season with 86, only behind Jonathan Fauchon, who had 103. It got pretty tight behind him, but Carbonneau was second in the league. He also is a big boy, and you could see that 6'1", 192 pounds, but it feels like he's got a frame that's going to fill out, and he could play 205, 210 in the National League once he gets there. He's also, much like Kashan Aitcheson, one of the older players in this draft. He turned 18 in November, right shot, right wing, and he's as high as 11th for elite prospects. Locked On NHL Prospects has him at 12th overall. So does Scott Wheeler. Then it goes down to 16th for McKeen's, 17th for Corey Pronman, as well as Bob McKenzie's midterm rankings. Craig Button just moved him down 3 spots for his final rankings. He is 18th on that list. I'm a little bit more hesitant on Justin Carbonneau because I worry that it won't put it all together. It just, to me, like, he's got the strong physical build. It's just, to me, I don't know if he uses it as much. I don't know. I might be way off with this one, but watching him, I just see like a Mike Hoffman type, where it's like, yeah, you can dominate the queue just like Hoffman did. I don't think they necessarily have the same skill sets. I think Carbonneau, his hands are definitely better. Maybe the shot not as elite as Mike Hoffman's, but to me, it's just there's something missing when I watch him. Like I'm impressed, but when I'm thinking about how's this going to translate to the NHL, that's where I get a little worrisome. And I don't think I'm stepping out of line here by saying the Q is not necessarily the strongest of the 3 leagues in Canada. And maybe that's what I'm watching for. I'm saying, oh, he just undressed a future carpenter there. He undressed a lawyer going back door. Oh, he scored on the goalie that's going to be an accountant one day. I don't know if I'm going a little too far with this, but I don't think it's as much of a sure thing that he's going to be a top 6 NHL forward. And that worries me a little bit for a guy that his whole career has just put up ridiculous numbers wherever he's been. I worry that if he's all of a sudden not putting up those numbers at the next level, maybe there'll be a little bit of a dip in confidence, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and that's fair. I think I'm on the other side of that, Ross. I believe in this guy. And I think the Armada just recently acquired Bill Zonin. Get a guy like Bill Zonin on his line to do some of that dirty work for him, and I think he's going to put up 50-plus goals easily. But Scott Wheeler complimented his wall game and his strength in puck battles. Funny enough, he works with the same trainer that Thomas Chabot did. I might be mispronouncing this. His name's Riopel. I forget what his first name is, but they mentioned it was the same trainer. And EP says he's got big upside and points to his skating. The scout polls that EP Guide does has him as the best hands in the draft, which is saying something for someone that we have ranked 13th, and 3rd best shot. And he combines those in such a great way. Like, if you watch his highlight pack, first off, it's going to be a while. It's a long video with 89 points, 46 goals. But what he does so well is he finds the quick lanes to get in between 2 defenders in the slot, has the hands to dipsy doodle through the one, and then has the skating to use his edge work to get around the other. And this is all happening within split seconds. And then his release is so good. By the time he's already fooled that defenseman, pivoted around the other guy, and got the shot off, it's in the back of the net before anyone even knows what happened. I'm a big fan of Carbonneau's game, and I do think he has the potential to be not just a top 6 player, Ross, a top line player. If you pair him with the right guys, a playmaker, and then a guy like Bill Zonin, like a bulldog, a hard worker, a Zach Hyman type that's going to go into those dirty areas and get you the puck, I think he can have a lot of success, especially with the size that he already has.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. Like, I don't mean to say that he shies away from contact. I think the Hoffman comparable might give out some negative connotation with that. I just meant when the puck's on their stick offensively, they can put in the net, no problem. But what I'm getting at is that if he's not a top 6 forward, is he someone you're comfortable as a guy getting into the league where you trust him in a role where he's going to have to be responsible defensively and going to have to make simple plays? Because he's great at the complex plays at this level, but will it translate? So we'll see with Justin Carbonneau, but the highlight reel and everything that he does to create offensively can't be taken away from him. The third best shot in the draft, according to Elite Prospects, and he's great in transition as well, carrying the puck. So he's an offensive weapon. So a team, I think, that has good structure and has a specific role for him in mind, I think that would be a great pick in the middle of the first round. If he goes top 10, I think that's a little rich for my blood. But in that 10 or 11, I should say, to 20 range, there's a number of teams that I think he could really help out. We've talked a lot about Montreal, the natural connection as a Quebecois, although people pointed out on our mock draft, apparently he grew up a Leafs fan. So he's like the living version of the kid's book, The Hockey Sweater, except he wanted the Leafs jersey. It didn't just show up in the mail. But I think, jokes aside, like he could be like a Patrick Laine replacement in Montreal, right? When they move on, like that type where you're playing with the Demidov, you're playing with guys who can get you the puck and allow, I think, because at the next level, I think the shot is what's going to separate him and allow him to be a top player if he gets to his potential in the NHL. But an exciting prospect. How many Sens stars do you have for Justin Carbonneau?
So maybe I'm on the repetition that I was with the 3-star string I went on, but I'm doing 4.5 stars again. I see the talent. I believe in him. I do not think he will be there at 21. I'd be shocked if he makes it past Montreal. I don't even think he'll get to 16 and 17 for Montreal to be able to draft him. But if they have one or both of those picks and they don't draft him, I would just be absolutely shocked. If the Sens were able to draft him at 21, I would love it. But 4.5 stars for me. I see the potential and I believe in it for Justin Carbonneau.
Justin Carbonneau with an average ranking of 14.71 comes in on our Locked On Senators draft rankings at 13th overall. All right, Pills, any final thoughts on today's show?
Final thoughts is the cup is in the building tonight, Ross. The Florida Panthers have a 3-2 lead on the Edmonton Oilers, and I just don't see a way where Connor McDavid lets this slip away yet again. The Edmonton Oilers are starting Stuart Skinner, probably the guy I would have went with. I don't think there's a right or a wrong decision here. They're in a tough spot with their goalies, but I don't see a way where Connor McDavid lets this slip away from him and doesn't even get it to a Game 7. I'm predicting another Edmonton Oilers overtime win because I also don't see a way where the Florida Panthers just deflate and are entitled and thinking that they're just going to get handed the cup here. They know how bad the Oilers want this and the pain that would come from the Oilers losing to the Panthers back-to-back years in the cup finals. This is going to be a good game tonight.
It's going to be great. Are we going to get a McMoment? Well, I've been waiting on a McMoment, and I know he's done so much offensively. He loves getting his teammates involved. He's not going to be the Sam Bennett goal scorer in the playoffs, but I'd like to see him have a 2-goal game. Has he had a 2-goal game in the playoffs yet? This season, obviously.
Off the top of my head,
one.
I can't.
That when they beat Dallas 6-1, he had 2 goals. That's his only 2-goal game this postseason. I'd like to see him pop off. He scored last game. I'd like to see a 2-goal game for Connor McDavid. Give me a hat trick with the 3rd goal being the OT winner.
Oh, okay. Nice. That'd be sick. I think the key to this game, Ross, is going to be discipline. And not only discipline, but understanding where the ref's line is, because that's where this series has been difficult. It seems like Florida gets a little bit longer of a leash when it comes to these things. And especially after the scrums, there's some insane physicality that's let just go off after the whistle. So the way the penalties are going to be called and the way teams adjust to that, I think is going to be the key to this game.
And your official prediction?
Edmonton Oilers overtime win. I'll say 4-3.
4-3.
not
Over's been running
McDavid getting the winner. I'm going to go with Evan Bouchard winner.
I thought you were going to say Kasperi Kapanen.
No.
Or Connor Brown. Hashtag Sens abroad.
What's your prediction?
McDavid hat trick. Third goal's the OT. I'll go OT as well. And it's wild that both of us are predicting that. But wait a second. Half the games in this series have been overtime. I'll say, what did you say? 4-3?
4-3.
I'll say 3-2. McDavid has all the offense.
Okay, sick. Nice.
This is just me manifesting it. I'd like to see that.
Let's do it.
I would also love to see a 1-0 Oilers win where Stuart Skinner gets a shutout. He either gets a shutout or loses, right? So
I don't think that'll happen.
No, I didn't say I think. I said I'd like.
That's
what I like to happen, the Sens would still be playing hockey.
Yeah.
Doesn't it feel like forever ago the Sens played? These teams have been playing almost every other night since.
It's years ago.
I saw an article on The Athletic. They tracked all the travel and everything these teams have done. Sheesh. That's a lot. And you know they're trying their best already, but like it has to be in the back of the Panthers' minds. One, this is their last opportunity at home, their last home game of the season, no matter what.
Mm-hmm.
But that flight, checking into the hotel, doing it all over again, like.
And added to that, Ross, dragging your family there. That was an issue, not an issue, but that was a thing last year is they were talking about, okay, we cannot bring our family all the way over again. We're leaving them here for this game. Or I forget exactly how it went, but I know that was a topic of discussion being like the travel is taking its toll, not just on the players, but every single person involved.
And it's so funny that the NHL Stanley Cup final is so far away. Meanwhile, the NBA final, like how far is Oklahoma City from
Indiana?
From Indiana.
Or what's the city they play? Indianapolis, I assume.
Yeah.
No clue.
Indianapolis, it is a 10.5-hour drive.
Oh, man, easy.
That's probably door-to-door flight for the Panthers leaving their house to get to the hotel in Edmonton.
Yeah. Oh, man.
Sheesh. Anyways, enjoy the game tonight. We'll be back tomorrow. At some point, Steady Stevie's going to make a big move here. I have a feeling. And whether that big move is re-signing someone, bringing in someone, and then a Giroux contract, back pocket, bang, there you go. Now we know. But the mystery will unfold. And if you want to learn more about the Sens budget, we did do episodes on that, trying to kind of tracking how everything could turn out earlier on in the offseason. Nothing ages as quickly now that it is the offseason for the Ottawa Senators. We'll see you tomorrow. For today, we say goodbye. Thank you for liking, watching, listening, and engaging with the show. Please share and watch again the mock draft. It really helps us out. For Brandon Pillar, I'm Ross Levitan. This has been another edition of the Locked On Senators podcast, your team every day.